To found your own town in Anvil Empires, we need to make a gathering pit. What we need to construct a gathering pit is twigs, and to make twigs we need branches. Branches can be found lying on the ground, and they look like a heap of branches. To pick them up, simply walk to the heap of branches and click the left mouse button. This will make you gather the branches. We need 10 branches to make ourselves a workbench, so we press tab to open our inventory and can see how many branches we currently have. With 10 branches in our inventory, we press B to open the build menu, and in the settlement category we see that our first option is a workbench. We left click on the icon of the workbench and that will put the blueprint under our mouse cursor. When you cannot build at a certain spot, the blueprint will turn red. If you can place it in that position, it will be grey. Placing the blueprint is done by left clicking again. We then walk up to the blueprint and hold down the left mouse button to use the branches to build the workbench. When you are close to a blueprint, it will tell you what it still needs in terms of materials and with what tool it needs to be built, in this case our hands. Now that the workbench is built, we can press E to open its menu. On the left side we will see our own inventory. In the top right we see the production panel where we can see what we can produce here. In the middle right is the inventory of the workbench, which obviously is empty right now. And in the bottom right we find the actions panel with only one button in this instance, the dismantle button. To turn our branches into twigs, we go to the production panel and left click on the twigs icon. This will take a branch from our own inventory and start turning that into twigs. We keep clicking until we have ordered the amount of twigs we needed or until the production queue is full. While we wait, we can see that slowly our workbench is putting the twigs it produced into its inventory. Now that we have more than 15 twigs in the workbench, we hold down the shift key and click on the twig icon in the workbench's inventory. This will retrieve, if available, 30 twigs at once into our own inventory. We tab out of the menu and press B to open the build menu. If the gathering pit icon is grayed out, this means you are too close to another town and you will have to keep moving away from that town until the gathering pit does show up in your build menu. In the settlement category, we select the gathering pit by left clicking on it. This will put the blueprint under our mouse cursor. If we hold down the right mouse button, we can rotate the blueprint. And when we are happy with the place and orientation of the blueprint, we can left click to confirm the placement. Then walk up to the blueprint and hold down the left mouse button to build the gathering pit with the twigs. With the gathering pit built, let's make sure that we pledge to our own town. To pledge to a town, you need to build a hut within the confines of that town. When you are in the build menu, you can see the boundaries of a town. Those are indicated by a blue or yellow projection on the ground. Blue for remnants and yellow for ancients. If you try to place a blueprint outside the town boundaries, we can see that the blueprint turns red and the game tells us not within range of settlement. As a side note, if you are pledging to somebody else's town, make sure to ask them where you can build your hut and don't drop it down wherever you feel like it. People might have plans for certain areas. Since this is our own town, we can decide to put our house where we like it. We left click to place the blueprint and hold down the left mouse button to build the hut using 5 twigs. With the hut built, we press E to open its menu. We can see on the left side is our own inventory, in the top right the inventory of the hut, and in the bottom right the actions panel. In the actions panel, we're going to click on the claim house button. That is the button that looks like a flag. Now that we have done that, we are pledged to this town and have a private inventory in our own house. If we now come to the gathering pit and press E to open its menu, we can see on the right side the list of people that are currently pledged to this town. In this case, me and Fanicky, where I am the founder and Fanicky is a cottager. Being a founder will allow you to dismantle buildings, not huts, and get the used materials refunded. If we hover over the status of a player, we can see the breakdown of the permissions that come with each status. With our own town started, it is time to put some production buildings down. First off, we want to have a lumber camp, which can turn logs into planks and logs into twigs. We will need planks to be able to make a hammer at the Toolmaker, and we need planks to be able to upgrade our gathering pit to tier 2 to get access to more production buildings. So we press B to open the build menu, go to the industry tab and left click on the lumber camp icon. We place the lumber camp close to the trees by left clicking and then walk up to the blueprint and hold down the left mouse button to build the lumber camp with 10 twigs. To get some logs to process in the lumber camp, we make ourselves an axe in the workbench. We come to the workbench, press E to open its menu, and if we hover over the axe icon, we can see that we need 3 twigs and 2 fibers to make an axe. We can get fibers by harvesting a berry bush. This will yield us berries and fibers. When we have the necessary resources in our inventory, we left click on the X icon and that will put an X into the production queue of the workbench. Now that our X has been made in the workbench, we press E to open the workbench menu and click on the X icon in the workbench inventory, and that will take the X out of the workbench and put it in our own inventory. We press Tab to open our inventory and click on the X so it goes into our equipment. We tab out of our inventory and press 1 to equip our X in our left hand. We walk up to a tree and hold down the left mouse button to start chopping down the tree. When the tree is cut, it will fall over and break into 2 logs. We walk to one of those 2 logs and press E to pick it up. With the log over our shoulder, we walk to our lumber camp and press E to open it up. On the left side, we will see our own inventory, and in the top right, we will see the production panel. Here we can choose if we want to turn our log into planks or twigs. The logs of the different tree species yield different amounts of twigs and planks. For instance, the silver honey log, the one that we are currently carrying, will turn into 2 planks or into 3 twigs. The Maryland beech log will turn into 3 planks or 3 twigs, and the North Astrian pine log will turn into 2 planks or 5 twigs. So to turn our log into twigs, we hover over the twig icons with a 3 on it and left click on the one that shows the icon of the silver honey log in its dropdown. If we want to turn a log into planks, we can simply run up to the lumber mill with a log over our shoulder, and when we are close, we can left click to have the lumber camp take the log and turn it into planks. Now that our settlement is taking shape and we are thinking about upgrading our gathering pit to tier 2, we should first build a wall surrounding our settlement. Because when we bring our town to tier 2, wolves will start to get attracted to our town, and the wall will be a good way of keeping them out and us alive. So with twigs in our inventory, we press B to open our build menu and go to the defense structure category. There we select a gate by left clicking on it, which will put the blueprint under our mouse cursor. The big arrow we see on the blueprint is an indicator of which way the gate will open. And we can change the orientation of the structure by holding down the right mouse button. So with an orientation like this, the gate will open to the outside. When we are happy with the placement, we left click to confirm and walk up to the blueprint and put 1 twig in it by pressing the left mouse button. This will make the blueprint stay while we plan more of the wall. We press B again and now select a makeshift wall by clicking on it. We bring the blueprint of the wall close to the gate and it will snap to the side of the gate. We left click to start dragging out the gate, and while we move the mouse cursor we can see that the wall will stretch from the point where we connected it to the gate to where our mouse cursor is. If we are happy with the segment length and orientation we currently have, we simply left click and that will place the blueprint of that segment. We then walk up to the separate blueprints and build them by holding down the left mouse button. We repeat this all around town and make sure that we have multiple gates that we can use to get out of the town. With our defensive wall finished, we need a toolmaker in order to make a hammer, among other tools. And with a hammer and planks, we can upgrade our gathering pit to tier 2. We press B to open the build menu and go to the industry tab. If we hover over the toolmaker icon, we can see that it will cost us 20 twigs. Other people that are pledged to our town can also place buildings, so in this instance Hot Mike placed the blueprint. We walk up to it and hold down the left mouse button to build the toolmaker, because it doesn't matter who placed the blueprint, anybody can submit materials to the blueprint. We may also want to be able to protect ourselves and hunt down wildlife with spears later on. To get those, we have to build a weapon station. Now I want to place a weapon station here behind the lumber camp and toolmaker, but there is not enough room. So we walk up to our makeshift walls and gate, press E to open their menu, and in the actions panel click the dismantle button. This will break down the wall or the gate and drop the materials that were used to build it on the ground. We can press E to pick those up again. With the walls out of the way, we can press B to go into the build menu, go to the industry tab and select a weapon station. Left click to place the blueprint. Walk up to the weapon station and start adding twigs to the blueprint by holding down the left mouse button. As said before, in order to upgrade our gathering pit to tier 2, we also need a hammer. So we grab 3 planks from the lumber camp and go to the toolmaker. We press E to open its menu and in the production panel click the hammer icon. When the hammer is ready, we click on its icon in the inventory of the toolmaker, and this will take the hammer out of the structure and put it in our own inventory. For the upgrade we need 50 planks, so we go to the lumber camp and open it up by pressing E. We currently only have 42 planks, so we shift click on the plank icon and I will pull out a stack of 30, and we shift click again to get the remaining 12. We tab out of the lumber camp menu, press tab to go into our inventory, click on the hammer so it goes into our hand, tab out of the inventory and press 1 to equip the hammer into our right hand. We walk up to the gathering pit and press E to open up its menu. In the actions panel, we can click on the up arrow and this will place the blueprint for our village hall, which is the upgraded version of the gathering pit. We then simply hold down our left mouse button to hammer the planks in. Now that we have the village hall, our town is a tier 2 town, and that means we now have access to more structures and can upgrade the production buildings like the Toolmaker and weapon station that we already have. When we upgrade those, we get access to new tools like the fishing rod and new weapons like the sword and the bow.